Day 98, the primitives behind my agent system. So I've been iterating on both my personal agent systems, personal systems of how I work and do work with AI, and also how PailFlow works and does work with AI with coding agents, both in the foreground and the background. And I think I've settled, at least for right now, the right suite of primitives and when to use them. So let's talk through it. So everything starts with an entry point. For my agents, that could be a slash command. So I might directly invoke a workflow. It might be through just using the chat function with agents or through scheduled jobs, which is where I get most of my background leverage from. One thing that I've updated in my setup and my process is that all of these are underlying them is a skill. So I'm using a lot more skills in my systems. I'm doing more to reuse them in skills because skills as a unit can then be entered through different entry points. Skills are the operational logic of like how the agent should run. And I have found this pattern with the compound engineering plugin of this idea of kind of like workflow skills. So like skills that maybe invoke other skills and invoke other subagents, and then just like these base skills. And then from those skills, they kind of branch off into two different places. I think the question tool is so overrated, especially for adding human in the loop to any of the agent skills that you're running. You can either have something branch off into a question, whether it needs more human input or human approval. I think the compound engineering plugin does that really well, where you might want to do research on a feature, but maybe you don't have enough context and you need to ask a human. And so you can like branch off and ask a human. That's where you can make some of these things that could seem more one shot, a bit more interactive. Or what I've been using personally is this idea of a review inbox. And so I've shown it a couple of times on the channel, but I have this inbox for all of the outputs when it's time, when it's done its work, it's executed the skill, and it's time for me as the human to review, to kind of go into that depth review. For coding, it might not be like a review inbox, but like a pull request. But this idea of like once it's done its work and it's ready for approval, you as like the manager or like you as the owner of these agent systems then has to go in and review and approve that. And then from there, it just kind of runs the loop. So that's it for me today.